But it's not going to, be some sort of get rich quick scheme. You've got to see how you can differentiate yourself from the others that would like to sell something similar.
Yeah, I think when people think of passive income, they think that, oh, it's going to be really easy. I'll just upload a product and then I'm going to be making money overnight. And that may work with some things. Like some people do see success that way, but a lot of the times you do have to put in a lot of back end work, especially up front.
Hello, entrepreneurs, designers, digital nomads, and business gurus. Welcome to Circle Live, our internet talk show just for Squarespace Circle members. I'm Sam Z, your Senior Community Events Manager.
And I'm Sarah G, Team Lead for the Circle Program team. And we have our colleague Taylor Lagoy managing the conversation in the chat. Last month, we talked to Tanya Mushi about leveling up your client game. It was such a good conversation. You can view the replay of that episode in the link that Taylor is currently sharing in the chat.
It was a great conversation. And today we have another great conversation. We're joined by special guests, Bree Moores and Stephen Kim of StudioLaTerre.com, PassivePLR.com, a variety of websites. We will talk about all of them. Coming up, we'll share our interview with them, where we'll talk about their websites and also about how this working couple designs content to stand out, generate passive income, optimize user journeys, all that fun stuff. We'll have them joining us live for a Q&A later as well. But to start us off with some fun news, we have a new segment. Sarah, of course you're familiar with release notes.
You mean our famous weekly email containing community news, new release announcements, and other Circle exclusive content?
Wow, you really have that down. Yes, that's exactly the one. We know all of this news comes weekly, and it can sometimes be overwhelming. So we partnered with our product team to select one new release as seen in release notes and give a quick video tour. We are calling this new segment Release Notes Live. Today's product deep dive will be particularly interesting to anyone looking to ship physical products. I'll let our friend Jeremy Bassett-Smith tell you more about carrier-calculated shipping.
Hi Circle, I'm Jeremy, Senior Product Manager, here with your brief overview on carrier-calculated shipping. Carrier-calculated shipping automatically calculates shipping costs for orders based on real-time rates from shipping carriers. Instead of setting fixed shipping prices, rates are calculated by the carrier based on the package weight, dimensions, and destination address. This means you can give your customers accurate pricing and avoid overcharging or undercharging for shipping. It's easier to manage shipping costs, and transparent prices can mean increased sales. Let's see a demo. We go to Settings, Selling, Shipping, and we'll add a shipping option and choose Carrier Calculated. Here I give it a name and choose the origin address of where I'm shipping from. I choose a carrier, such as Canada Post, and the different services I want to offer, such as priority or regular parcel. There are a few other settings to set up, such as custom boxes. I'll save those, and now my shipping option is set up. Let's go through checkout. Here's one I prepared earlier. I'll enter my details, including my address, and choose from one of the shipping options that I set up earlier as the merchant. In this case, I'll choose Express Post with Canada Post. And you can see on the right-hand side, my shipping cost has been added in. Back on the merchant side, we can see that order has come in. And you can see that Express Post through Canada Post was chosen by the shopper. And that's it for carrier calculated shipping. I hope you enjoyed this demo. Thanks for watching.
And you can find out more about carrier calculated shipping in the link Taylor is sharing in the chat or in the show notes. Now, Sarah, can we take a moment?
I would love nothing more. This is a segment that we call Circle Member Moments. Every month, we ask Circle Live viewers what their proudest moment was from the last month. Here are some of our favorite responses. Alex W. helped a friend build an entire website and online presence and used it to build a process to start a company. They famously say, if you build it, they will come.
They do famously say that. Sarah D is about to have her first solo photography show, so she put up a website to sell prints. Sarah says, "This is my first time designing on the platform 100%, and I am having the best time. I always love updating my websites because I've been doing this for 13 years as a photographer and need to keep updating to stay relevant. I love Squarespace." We love to hear this, Sarah.
I also am a Sarah who loves Squarespace. So much in common. Malika V says that they have been booked out through the summer with new clients. We hope you make sure that you find time to get to the beach, Malika.
Thomas M got his first website generating $30K per day. I assume that $30K is dollars. That's a lot of dollars.
It's a lot of dollars. Kimberly A used custom code to create widgets and features. It's amazing.
Sharon R, friend of the show, designed a site for a new documentary film and is currently creating a store for custom merch on Printful, which has been really fun and super easy. Maybe we should finally open up our merch store.
Please do not tease the audience like that. We are about ready to share our interview with Bree and Stephen. But first, we want to hear more of your wins while we take a quick break. Share with us your pro designer business wins from the last month. We'll see you soon.
Are you looking to monetize your content and earn more from your websites? Whether you're a content creator, entrepreneur, business owner, or publisher, Google AdSense helps you to earn money by displaying high-quality, relevant ads from trusted advertisers on your websites and content. You can customize where and who sees the ads you want to display, while AdSense provides formats tailored to your needs and content, whether you're an online store, content-based site, or gaming site. Only the highest paying ads will be published on your sites. And you can boost your revenue by tapping into a large network of online advertisers who bid for your ad space. You can also simplify ad placement with high-level controls, or personalize settings to suit your specific requirements, like excluded areas and ad categories that you'd like to block. Creating great content takes time. Making it profitable shouldn't. To sign up for Google AdSense, visit the link goo.gle/Circle Live.
Welcome back. Thank you for sharing your wins. So great to see all the work that you're doing for businesses and for each other. Now let's get into our main interview. Bree Moores and Stephen Kim are life and business partners. They are experts on selling on Squarespace, and through their sites, studiolaterre.com, passiveplr.com, breeandstephen.com, they provide resources and educational content to help you do the same. Here is our interview with Bree and Stephen.
You spoke a little bit about how you decided to start selling Squarespace templates with your SEO research. I'm curious how the Squarespace platform itself has helped you kind of like grow and market your business once you had decided to invest in it.
Yeah. So, I mean, there's a lot of reasons why I love Squarespace, especially for e-commerce. I mean, I could talk about that all day, but I really think that you guys have one of the best platforms, especially for someone who's kind of dipping their toes into the e-commerce world and selling, because you guys not only have like beautiful templates just built in on your platform already, but just the usability and just being able to really customize it to fit the brand and having all of the tools in one place. Something that we really love about Squarespace is just being able to see all of the analytics, having all of the SEO tools built in, and really just being able to like customize the website to match our brand and really like, you know, match what we want our customer experience to be like while they're on our website. But I know that you probably have more to say about like the back end of Squarespace with that.
Well, one of the great things, and if you're watching this and you're new on Squarespace, you want to get the Squarespace app because it's so nice to be on your phone and see that first thing called the news feed, I think you guys call it, because you can see, 1 hour ago, somebody went on this page of your website, and then you can click their name and you can see, okay, they went to these 7 pages, and then you can kind of reverse engineer what's already working for you. A lot of people don't know there's a website that's already working for them. And it's just great to kind of see like, okay, wow, I guess I'm getting more traffic on this page, or 10 times today, people are spending more time on this page than that page. So maybe I need to put more calls to action or some buy now buttons or some, long format videos on this page to keep people on that page even longer. So that's definitely something that we love about Squarespace is the app and seeing that news feed of what's happening in real time.
I'm curious, through the passive PLR side of your business, you have sold a lot of templates and digital products that have been successful. You run a competitive business. Kind of on that side of the house, what has been the key to standing out?
I think it also comes back to having designs that stand out from a lot of people, and also just doing that keyword research, the market research, knowing what people are searching for. So for passive PLR, we do a lot of the hard work of doing the research and seeing what people are searching for, because with that business specifically, people are coming to us to buy something that's already done, that already has the research done on it. They're not trying to waste time, doing the research themselves, designing the product, all of that. So I would say that that's definitely a big factor of success with that, is just being able to know exactly what people are searching for, designing the products that, stand out and look good.
Just to reiterate what Bree said, we've done the research and the data just shows what people are already wanting to buy. So it makes it more successful with the resellable products when we can educate the people that want to start an online business. Hey, thousands of people a month are searching for this one product. Here's a done for you one so that you can start selling it right now while you're learning about the best ways to sell that product, so that you've got a higher chance of making an ROI quickly with a product like this. The data shows that you do.
The hardest part of building a business, obviously, is finding customers. With that initial stage of getting into Squarespace and selling on Squarespace, were you able to bring in customers from your previous business, or did you have to find them out of nowhere?
So we pretty much started from scratch. So we do have an Etsy shop, which at the time didn't have that many sales. So I wouldn't say that we started off with a shop that was super successful. Our main focus was really utilizing the SEO features that Squarespace has, which are amazing. I mean, if anyone is doing a website on Squarespace, like really utilize all of the features that they have for that. So yeah, focusing on the SEO benefits of using the website itself, and then other things like Pinterest and then TikTok helped generate some traffic as well.
What tools do you find useful? What are some of what's the thing in Squarespace SEO that everybody should be doing right away?
From our experience, you have just as much of an opportunity to rank on page 1 of Google with the Squarespace site as the site next door. And that's because you offer all the same features that are needed. A page title where you can put in good keywords, page description and the meta description. You can do image titles and image descriptions. You can do tags on pages. You guys, have, I'm going to guess, millions of people who are on Squarespace, and they all need those features. It's like, if you speak English, you have a 26-letter alphabet. If you do SEO, that's your alphabet, so to speak. Page titles, page descriptions, image tags, image descriptions. You guys are giving us everything we need to be successful. So it's really just about educating yourself first. And luckily, I was already educated about SEO, but you guys have a whole free SEO guide. I mean, I've seen people charging $3,000-$5,000 for an SEO course. And it's just all the same information that's free on the Squarespace SEO guide. So I would just urge people to become fluent with how SEO works. A lot of people get overwhelmed with a lot of these catchphrases that we're talking about that I just listed. But if it overwhelms you, just think of it as supply and demand. If there's a low supply of something on the internet, but there's a high demand of it, that's your SEO opportunity. Or if you find yourself trying with SEO but not being successful, it's probably because there's not a high enough demand for what you're trying to promote out there into the internet space. And so just using the tools and educating yourself. And I would recommend, if you aren't educated in SEO, don't just go and hire someone to do it for you, because they might go and do stuff that you have no idea what they're doing. You can't double check their work. In a couple hours, you can read all of those free blogs that you guys have and just understand, what is a keyword, what is a page title and a meta description. And if it does confuse you, just think of it like supply and demand. That'll really simplify things.
You shared with me an anecdote when we first spoke about a photographer you were working with who was trying to be successful in one area, but there was no demand for it in that area, and then they moved to a different area and they saw some success. Could you recount that story a little bit for me?
Yeah, absolutely. So when we used to help photographers get more business, I worked with a photographer, and they were a couple hours away from Chicago, and they really wanted to brand themselves as the whatever city, Illinois photographer. And if you did the keyword research, there's maybe 20 or 30 people a month searching for a photographer in that city. And so they were about to sell their camera gear. They were about to just throw in the towel. And I showed them the data. Look, I know it may be a 2 or 3 hour drive, but there's tens of thousands of people near Chicago looking for a photographer. Just try it for a couple months and see if you can get business. And then it saved her whole business. And now she's happy to drive. She could probably afford a self-driving Tesla to take her there and just hang out, because the data shows you how you can be successful. So if you're just running a business in the dark, so to speak, by not looking at what the supply and demand is for what you're even selling, you're going to have a harder time than if you really target and see what that opportunity looks like, because then you have way more confidence stepping into that market. Even if there's 1,000 or 5,000 photographers in Chicago, the tens of thousands of clients who need customers are going to outweigh that, and you'll still have some success.
Yeah. So it's the SEO research doesn't always just tell you how to phrase things on your website or what images to use, but it really tells you where your customers are.
Yeah. And that's kind of our main focus with both of our businesses. Like this was a lesson that we learned early on, was you can design something that you like, but it's not necessarily going to sell, right? You need to have that supply and demand again of being able to know what people are actually looking for. And obviously you want to add your own personal, twist on those products and kind of help stand out in that element. But yeah, if you're just kind of, making something or selling something because you think it's going to sell, and you don't actually do the research, most likely it's not going to go that well for you.
So let's talk a little bit about this research. Without naming specific names, can you give us a sense of a few of the customers that you have in your portfolio, and maybe how, to the best of your knowledge, how they found you, how they got to you?
So a lot of our customers, we kind of work with a little bit of a wider range now. So a lot of our customers are going to be photographers. They're going to be coaches. They're going to be like in the wellness space, maybe doing like Pilates or some sort of like fitness brand. I do work with a lot of agencies, like creative agencies, whether they're doing like marketing, content creation, stuff like that. And then I would say, as far as how people find us, it's usually either directly on Google from them searching Squarespace templates, or through Pinterest. Those are our two biggest ones right now. And then obviously we have our Etsy shop, so people will find us on Etsy. So yeah, those are kind of the range of people that we work with. But of course, there's a few stragglers of like people outside of that, outside of those things that we'll work with. So, but yeah, it's mostly like photographers, coaches, wellness, influencers, things like that.
We talked a little bit earlier about passive income. Obviously, that's like an entire wing of your business. I'm curious, given your experience running it, helping other people do the same, when it comes to passive income and setting up that kind of income stream, broad sweeping, what works, what doesn't?
Yeah, I mean, we've definitely, reiterated the point about search engine optimization. If you don't know your target market, it's going to be really hard out there. and also doing something and not giving up with just one product. We've had, more than I'd like to admit, people who try just listing one product and then they complain that it doesn't work. You should see the amount of unlisted products where Bree will put a product up and then say, this isn't good enough. Let me take this down. There's almost more unlisted products on our Etsy shop than actually listed products. We might have 30 templates up right now for Squarespace templates. There might be 40 or 50 that just didn't hit. And so you can't just give up if something's not getting sales immediately, but you got to really snowball the success. You got to get one template up, and then you got to try and shoot for 4 or 8 or 12 or 16. I do multiples of 4 because when you're scrolling through Etsy, it shows 4 at a time. And then if you've got, 12 or 16 of them and they're still not selling, then you can kind of go back to the drawing board. But if you just put one up, you can't expect it's not some get rich quick scheme at all by any means.
I also think too, being able to pivot and almost read the room in a sense of knowing kind of what's trending right now. And especially for design, the design trends are always changing. So something that may have sold really well, a year or 2 ago may not sell as well now because people are constantly looking for something that is matching more of the trends that are happening. So I think being able to pivot and be okay with that. A lot of people are, I don't want to say hard-headed, but a lot of people are just kind of stuck in wanting to do what they already know. They don't want to branch out and try something new. So I think if you can have the flexibility and be able to, try something new, that's definitely a huge factor in being able to be successful.
When you look at folks who either you've worked with directly or who've bought a template and maybe you're seeing their site and they're selling something, do you have any common feedback we see this issue a lot that can really be fixed if you do XYZ or anything like that?
People can't think that they can just purchase their own success, right? You've got to invest a little bit of energy and time. If you're going to get a PLR template, it can definitely save you a lot of energy and time. Then you're not staring at a blank screen, a blank canvas and starting from scratch, but it's not going to, be some sort of get rich quick scheme. You've got to see how you can differentiate yourself from the others that would like to sell something similar.
Yeah, I think when people think of passive income, they think that, it's going to be really easy. I'll just upload a product and then I'm going to be making money overnight. And that may work with some things. Some people do see success that way, but a lot of the times you do have to put in a lot of back end work, especially up front. And then after that, then you really start to see things kind of build on top of one another. And then that's when you kind of get to that point where it's okay, all of the hard work that I put in you're kind of reaping what you sow, right?
I think it's clear with SEO, you can put something out there and then if it's not getting any traffic, you can make adjustments. You can also see, okay, I see people are searching for this. With something that's harder to maybe quantify, the concept of this is trendy, how do you think about designing templates that feel on trend and or as you're, giving advice to people and you're take what we have given you and make it trendy, make it feel relevant to now. Where do you kind of go for that inspiration?
Well, first I feel there's kind of a fine line for trendy, right? So you don't want to go too extreme where maybe the average person is going to be whoa, this is too much, I think it's a good balance to maybe pull a few things from trendy elements and really incorporate that. And I think it's also just trial and error, right? There's a lot of things that I design that maybe the keyword research proves that a lot of people are maybe searching for a Pilates website template, right? And so maybe I try and incorporate some trendy elements into that. But if it's not selling as well as I would think, just based on what the keyword research is showing, and maybe we're not getting as many sales on that, I'll go in and tweak a few things for that. But as far as finding inspiration for trendy things, I mean, I really like to use Pinterest, awards. I like the I Love Creatives website. I think that they have a lot of really great resources on there. And then just kind of seeing what's going on in the social media world. A lot of trends can just be found if you're just scrolling on social media. But I would say for the most part, just try and find trends through like Pinterest and all of those things. And then obviously doing the keyword research will tell you what people are searching for. And then you can kind of pull inspiration from that.
Do you have any trends that you've found to stand the test of time?
We do have one template that sells a lot, and it's just because it's like a bold red monochromatic theme. So I find that a lot of like the monochromatic vibe is really popular, and that's kind of stayed popular for a while. So I would say that's definitely a really big one. And just obviously having a lot of like big, bold typefaces, that's always been pretty trendy for the last like year or so. But again, I try and find a good balance between something that's going to have a little bit of the trends, but also still try and be timeless to some extent, right? Because like I said, you don't want to do something that's too extreme and then, maybe you sell a couple of them and then the trend's over, right? So it's kind of like pulling a few things here and there. But yeah, I would say the monochromatic ones are definitely the best seller for sure.
In terms of Squarespace, though, and the user experience of a typical Squarespace seller website, what are some of the hard-earned lessons you've learned about ways to group information and ways to best sell on a Squarespace website?
For website templates specifically, when we're listing those, obviously having really good mock-up images, just really good high-quality images in general. Also having like videos, whether that's showing maybe scrolling through the website, or I've seen people show like how the back end works of like dragging and dropping things. So like having videos showing that is also really important. But also just having a really good, clear set of expectations in the description of here's what's included. Maybe you need a membership for the product that you're selling, or just any key facts that people might need to know when they're about to purchase. Because I think that most people can say that if you go on a website and they don't have a clear description, you're probably not going to buy it because you're like, I don't even know what I'm getting. So having a really clean and clear description is definitely a huge factor for that. And then having a lot of like call to action buttons throughout that funnel page.
I know this from personal experience, just selling anything digitally. Descriptions of something digital are really hard to get right. What are some of your tips on how to differentiate, how to create a clear description of a template that tells them what they're getting and makes them want to buy it?
So for selling a website template, right, you want to have a link for them to preview the website. That's obviously really important because they want to see exactly how the website works when they're scrolling through it, see if it's like mobile optimized. Like you could put a screenshot up, but if the website actually doesn't look good when they're scrolling through it, chances are they're probably not going to purchase it. So having a link for them to preview that. I also like to list out how many pages they're going to be getting, and then just features like how they can edit the template. So what's editable in the template, if there's any code included, things like that. And then also just listing things about, if they get the free trial. So for the Squarespace templates, for example, they will get a free trial for that, which is really beneficial. And then any other like key factors with, it's a digital product, so nothing's going to be shipped to you. Usually there's no exchanges, no returns, things of that nature. So it really just comes down to like what you're selling as far as digital products go. But for the websites, I would say the main thing is to have that link for them to preview, tell them exactly what they're getting and what platform it's on, all of the stuff that they actually need to know in order to use the template.
I want to know, how have you both benefited from being in the Circle community? Have you taken any classes? Do you use the forum for research? What's great about being in the Circle community?
I think when you guys first released like the pinning aspect, I think that was like a year or two ago, I think it was cool to like see how other designers were utilizing that. And it gave me some inspiration on how to incorporate that into my own design. But yeah, I'm kind of a lurker on there. So I just kind of like to see what people are doing and use it for research mostly.
Another thing that we love is the Circle referrals. So if you're selling Squarespace templates and, for a couple $100, but then somebody signs up for Squarespace with a year membership, then you make another couple $100 for them signing up, depending on which plan that is. And so it gets you, it gets your business to the next level by promoting something that's already going to be great for your customers. We already know they're going to benefit from using Squarespace, but then you're getting that extra incentive to share with them as well.
Well, that's why we work so hard on it.
So true.
When you succeed, we succeed. Bree and Stephen, so wonderful to hear about your journey and to get your wisdom download for today. And we're just delighted to have you in the community. Thanks for joining us in Circle Live.
Thank you guys so much. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks so much. Can I take a picture of all this real quick?
You sure can.
Okay. All right. 1, 2, 3. Got it.
For the record, I still haven't seen that photo, but we want to know what stuck out to you about that interview. Tell us in the chat what you thought. A lot of ideas brought up there: passive income, SEO, finding your people. Tell us what you thought in the chat. Ask questions, be curious. In a little bit, we'll bring Bree and Stephen here live for a Q&A about selling on Squarespace. We'll see you soon.
Many content creators and website owners experience inappropriate and off-brand ads appearing on their site. With Google AdSense, they can better manage their ads themselves and have more control over the type of ads that appear next to their content. For example, a vegan blog can block all adverts for meat products and instead place complimentary adverts on their site. AdSense allows content creators to customize the placement, amount, and layout of ads on their website, which is really important as there is often a lot going on their pages to begin with. With the automation feature, content creators can be hands-off while trusting that the ads being shown are not only making them money, but are actually useful to their audience. To learn more, visit the link goo.gle/Circle Live.
We're back, and we have some special guests here with us live. Hi, Bree and Stephen.
Hello.
Hey, everybody.
Viewers, please keep those questions coming in the chat for our guests. We can talk about the photo that you took and I never saw later. We'll talk about that if we have time. But Sarah, as far as our guests, what questions are we seeing in the chat?
Yes, we have gotten a bunch in so far, and they're continuing to come. So first question is, where do you do your keyword research?
So I love SEMrush, semrush.com. It's got all the basics. You can use their free plan to get a couple free searches every day. And I mean, it's also worth paying for their pro plan. It's like $200 a month, but we've gotten as far as we have with just the free plan.
That's awesome. Cool that, they have both of those options. You can take advantage of whatever's the right phase for you. We have a question that says, you spoke earlier about the Squarespace app. I think the person in the chat cannot locate the special features that you mentioned where you could view where the user was on the website. Could you provide more guidance on what functionality you were speaking about?
Yeah, it's right when you open the Squarespace app, there's like a newsfeed that says, so-and-so IP address from Canada clicked on this website, and you can click that, and it'll say like after that link, they went to these other pages, and it helps you keep track of what people are spending a lot of time on.
Awesome. All right, we have a question that is, how would you tackle positioning a product that is like new to the marketplace? It's not something that a lot of other people are selling, and there's not necessarily a ton of research out there on it already. Where would you kind of start?
Ooh, that's a really good question. I guess there's two answers. Like the first answer, they might not like, because I would personally say that you really need to see if there's even a demand for that product. You can't just create something and just hope that people are going to find your product. But if it is something that you think people are really going to find value in, I think posting it wherever you can, doing social media, focusing on blogging, doing the Pinterest to really get your product out there. But I think it does come down to that supply and demand. If people aren't really interested in that product, then it might be hard to leverage yourself in that market. But I'm curious what you would say for that.
Yeah, I would say if you have the money for ads, that's the best way to test something, because your conversion rate will tell you if you can be profitable on that product. So if it's $100 product and you have to spend more than $100 on ads to get a sale, then maybe it's not the right thing to be selling, or you need to work on your ad strategy.
That's really wise. We have a question that says, do you recommend utilizing lifestyle content to promote a product when you think about releasing something new, maybe one of your templates or another product? How do you kind of like think about, I guess, like the storytelling and the kind of content that goes along with it?
Yeah, there's a lot of people that do a great job of integrating lifestyle content to promote their product. Like people that come to mind are like I follow a few people who sell Good Notes templates like for digital journaling, and they somehow integrate their product into their lifestyle content. And I think that's a really great way to promote their product. And I think that can be said for really any product. If you're good at making lifestyle content and naturally integrating it, I think that's a great way to kind of leverage getting more traffic to your shop. We personally don't really do any lifestyle content for ourselves, but I think in the future, that is something we would like to start doing, just kind of more behind the scenes of like how we make this website or what we're working on, things like that. So I would say that I think the lifestyle content definitely can work if you do it right. I think you have to be really natural about it. It can't be too salesy and be like, trying to promote your product and it's not really relevant to the content.
Yeah, that is a good clarification. Also says, how do you balance being content creators and agency owners / photographers? A lot of stuff on your plate.
I don't think that we're that good at managing everything, to be honest. The way that we kind of work is we have these work sprints where we're really motivated to get a lot of things done. And we're probably working, 10, 14 hours in a day to get something done. And then we'll kind of chill for like 3 days straight to recover and recoup. So I don't know if we're really the best people to ask about managing our time that well, but that's just what works best for us, because we can kind of get a lot of things done in a short amount of time and then take some time to recover and then come back and then feel motivated to keep working. That works for us though.
Yeah, less balance within a day, more balance overall.
Yeah, exactly.
However you get your rest in. Kevin says, do you put external plugins into your templates? And if so, where do you get them?
Yeah. So when I first started designing the Squarespace templates, I used to love using Ghost plugins, and I still use them pretty often. I think that if you're not familiar with them, they have a ton of really great free plugins for templates. I recently, though, like in the last year and a half, I did do Rachel's Squarespace, like the Standout Squarespace course. She teaches you how to code. So now I do a lot of the code myself. But if you don't have any experience doing the code, I think that Ghost Plugins is a great resource for that. And there's also a YouTuber, I think it's like Inside the Square. I hope that's the right one, but she has a lot of really great tutorials on YouTube too.
Yes, all friends of the show. Rachel and I think Becca's also been on the show.
Yeah.
Becca Harpain of Inside the Square. We know her well. Love it. Also has another question. When you're just starting out as a designer, is it wise to focus on 1 or 2 content marketing channels like blogging and Instagram, or to be on several channels?
I don't think that, maybe you have a different answer. I don't think that it's smart to spread yourself too thin. I think in the beginning, focus on like 1 or 2 and really just hone in on there. And then once you kind of start seeing that traffic and you start seeing the traction to your shop, then you can kind of branch out. But I think if you're trying to spread yourself too thin in too many different areas, they're not going to stick, because you're going to be too distracted trying to figure out all of those. So I think that sticking with 1 or 2 would be the best. But what do you have to say about that?
I would say when you look at like an outbound marketing strategy, there's 2 types. There's the hamster wheel marketing and the snowball marketing. So when I think of things like Instagram stories, that's like the hamster wheel where you got to keep going to get content relevant. No one's looking at your stories from last year as much so. But the snowball content is like a blog that's ranking on page 1 or a Pinterest pin that's ranking at the top. It's just always getting more and more traffic, and you set it and forget it. So I just love the snowball content because you're not always having to go and do more of it.
We had, maybe Sam remembers which episode this was, but we had an episode of the show, I'm going to say 6 to 9 months ago. We've been doing this a while. Where our Philip, I think, was the
Yeah,
guest.
Philip. Yeah.
Maybe someone can grab the link to Philip's episode of Circle Live. But
Yeah.
he talked about when you're on multiple different platforms, like you have to also be there. And so for every platform that you add, that's another presence that you have to have on that platform. So if you're on Instagram, you got to be on Instagram, like interact with people, replying to their comments, that kind of thing. If you want to add YouTube, well, now it's another place you have to interact with people. Even blogging, you want to keep that updated. And so I think my additional wisdom, in addition, like I think aligned with your answer, is like how many different places do you have the capacity to be? And something like blogging, like Stephen was saying, is so nice because in some ways you can like create it and then it continues to do the work for you. Whereas an Instagram story, yeah, you'd have to continue to update. So I love when our guests just, always complimenting each other. So good. All right. I don't think we have any more questions from the guests, from the audience yet, but I had a question, if that's okay.
Go for it.
We talked about this a little bit in our pre-show conversation when we were recording, and that is like, now that we've released saved sections that can be used across multiple websites, which if you haven't heard, by the way, now you can save a section to your account, not just to your website, so you can use it across multiple websites. You shared like some of the creative ways that you were thinking about using that. I was wondering if you could speak a little bit to that.
Yeah. So right now I'm focusing more on like sales page templates because over time, now that I've been selling just regular websites for a while, a lot of people want that additional sales page. So I've been doing more sales page templates in order to have people add that to their current website, which has been really great. But I think just having little canvases that people can add onto their already built out website, whether that's like an opt-in section or like an FAQ section, something that they don't want to build out themselves, but they want to have it already, up and working. I think that's going to be really helpful for a lot of my customers. But I am curious if anyone in the chat has some suggestions of what they're working on with those additional add-ons. I'd be curious too, because I love seeing what people are up to.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like site duplication really like unlocked template selling as a whole, the ability to, copy your site and sell it essentially to somebody else. And I feel like selling sections individually is like a whole new market that I imagine will explode at some point. And if the viewers of Circle Live want to be on the forefront of that, who's to stop them? But yeah, super excited to see what people continue to do with that. I think that's all of our questions.
Well, that's perfect because we're just about to close out this episode. But Bree and Stephen, first I want to thank you both for joining us on the show. I'll reiterate, as I said in the past on record, delightful to have you in the community. And thank you for being present with us today and sharing more of your wisdom.
Yeah, thank you guys so much. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you.
And share that photo with me if you can. I really want to make sure. Great. So great to see the people in our community and all the cool stuff that people are doing. We're going to have Bree and Stephen back sometime. That's all for today's show. Thanks for joining us live. We will be back with Circle Live next month. I believe Taylor is now sharing the link to register for that in the chat. New folks may not know this, but there's usually a post-Circle Live after party that we host online. So to join us in the after party, simply follow the link Taylor is sharing in the chat right now. There might be a couple of buttons you have to click to share your screen and audio to join us, but we'll be there pretty soon as you join that link. And until next Circle Live, this is Sam Z.
And I'm Sarah G.
Reminding you that even your 404 page deserves to feel seen.
Bye, everybody.